Hey, hey.
Hey! Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to the Automotive Podcast, Season 2, Episode 2, down in the Hollywood Square, doing the full circle of his promotional return to YouTube tour, Mr. Frank Steffens at Frank's Model Works. And, of course, we have the other two guys here, Mr. Chester, Mr. Svensson.
Hey, everybody.
And, yeah, and look at that. We actually have some people in here when we showed up. It must be Frank's fame that is drawn in the crowd.
Monday night.
So, as we talked about last time, we wanted to bring Frank back. He had a minor time off of YouTube due to a work-related catastrophe, and he has spent a good deal of time in the last, I don't know, month and a half since he's come back on YouTube, started making content again, showing up on AMC and a couple other places. And in the process, he was giving quite a bit of airtime to us because we were the first podcast that had him on. And so it just seemed like it was the right thing to do as he, as he's coming back on YouTube full blast with hours worth of content seemingly every day, that we'd wrap back around and bring you back on again. So, plus, we are at the moment 89 days to NNL East, so this conglomeration of 4 people will all be there for that. So it seemed like a good time to talk about that a little bit and see what
I gotta start cracking.
And that's right.
You gotta build something, man.
I gotta build something.
I could threaten to, but we all know I'm not going to. So yeah, you guys need to do something to
besides a
Porsche. Yeah. Like I said, for anybody who doesn't know, before we go off on a tangent here, the web theme for NNL East this year, even though we're not supposed to talk about it because we're supposed to send everybody to the website so they can see it themselves, is the AMT 60 and 63 Ford and all of the Mobius Ford pickup trucks. So it is Ford Pickup Truck-A-Rama is the web theme. And as I told Frank the other day, so long as he hasn't managed to give it away, he has a weathered Ford that goes into the theme quite well. He doesn't have to do anything at all. Sean built box art for at least 2 different things. He's set. Tester, he doesn't like pickup trucks. We're not worried about him. And I could threaten to build something and I could just bring a stack of Mobius kits and be like, look at all this money I spent on this stuff I haven't touched. Look at this. Somebody give me an award.
Are you gonna bring the teddy bear to NNL East?
Yeah, I might. You
should.
That could be like the 5th chair at the table. Like, come have your picture taken with a teddy bear.
Are you guys getting a table?
I'm trying to. I need to see if they're going to be able to get me something with a plug-in so that we can actually record. If we don't, I guess we could just sit there, but it's kind of a little pointless at that.
One of these
if we could record, I can grab people, hey, sit down and talk for 5 minutes, we can make an off-air episode of just talking to people, but otherwise it's just 3 putzes at a table going, hey, look at us. Hey.
One of these years I'm gonna rent the vendor table and then just rent the couch and put it there and rope it off with velvet ropes and charge $10 to sit down. All right, 5 minutes, get up. Next.
Tired of the bleachers?
I always have the anchor on one end, and I might talk to you. $20, I'll talk to you. But think about how much you buy 4 tables, you put 4 couches there, you make a fortune. It's like you're selling Joe hands. I'm gonna do it one year.
Grab the couches from Rent-A-Center. How much is a day's worth of rent from Rent-A-Center on a couch? Probably like $5.
The worst part of a lot of the shows is that there's really no place to sit. You're sitting on bleachers, or you're sitting on folding chairs. Those are like MTA, the Port Authority benches in Wayne Powell. Like, they're designed so that you can't lay down and be comfortable on them because they don't want you hanging out there too long. That would make a fool. Put a nice Barker lounger in there. Forget it.
You just go to the local mall that's closing down and get those vibrating chairs that take dollar bills. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those things are bad news. That'd be out like a light. Out.
All right, guys. So 2 weeks since we met last. Sean, you were just showing something down there. So what have we been up to?
Let's see. Well, this is about the amount of progress I've made on this since I opened the box. So, but it is the AMT 60 Ford. Yeah, it's going to be a step side. And I've got a plan. Just need to actually focus and spend some time on it, which I have not. I've been doing everything but building models. So Yeah.
Is it going to be a trophy truck? Because once again, Sean has sent me trophy truck pictures today.
Oh man, I've got an obsession. A test every time we have a private Facebook message thread, and James will all the time he's showing me, hey, there's this latest kit from Japan, and I'm like, sweet, let me make a trophy truck out of it. Like within I've done an AI image of
Lamborghini today. Yeah,
that's a trophy truck. It's my favorite joke. No, I actually considered to make the 60 pickup a trophy truck. I was really tempted, but I decided I just wanted a stock step side 60 Ford. So I am going to do the what it's called, a spare tire on the side of the side mount spare. So the fender's got like a cut in it, and then it'll have the side mount spare. Something really just basic. And I may actually do a wooden bed, like a real wooden bed with
like popsicle sticks or balsa wood. Or
yeah, I've got some little coffee stirrers that are just perfect for like little 1x4s.
What? No teak?
Well, no teak, but
come on, bamboo class. I tried that once, and I gave up.
Yeah, I've got a plan. I just need to spend some time on it.
Just to give an example here, just because we're not going to drag our community chat into the podcast here, but so today Alpha Models Hobby Design announced that they're going to be doing this Lamborghini Scion, which is the most recent. I think it's a replacement to the Aventador, if I'm not mistaken. And so we're going to do this. I want one because I'm a shill for these high priced resin kits, and then so within minutes. We all, if I get control of this screen, we all get this image sent to us of a Lamborghini trophy truck. So for the folks on YouTube who can see this, there's our inside joke. Everything I send to Sean gets turned into a trophy truck, which it makes my day. I'm not gonna lie, it's because it's the creativity of that. What is Sean gonna do with this time? And it's like, it's a trophy truck. Cool.
Big co-pilot is my friend.
All right, Mr. Tester.
I'm working on a secret project. I can't say what this is or where it's going to be available, but it will be available. And if you know what it is, then you know what it is.
I know
that was cryptic.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was.
Yeah,
it may wind up buried in a field somewhere.
It's like the Grimace mobile.
Yeah. So a friend of mine 3D designed it. I printed it, and I'm building it. So he'll announce the files pretty soon.
Cool.
So I realize I'm sort of doing what we've talked about before with the aftermarket stuff. Let me grab a couple of images here, and the thing we're going to talk about here in a second. Have we gotten a shipping notification from our friends
from Wenben? Yeah,
yep.
It left China. Today's the 27th. Left China yesterday.
All right, cool. See, that's great co-hosting right there, because I managed to pull the images while you're talking, and it almost looks like we're professional here. No one's going to confuse us for being professional, but. So the next kit out of PZY Kit Box in Encore, which is Wenben's company who does all of our favorite good small racing decals, is two different versions of the Lexus LC500. This is the S package, which is like a stock car, and then I'm not sure exactly what trim this is supposed to be on the front here. It's the Chinese English translation. It's not quite coming through to me. So what this is, but. This is the one I have coming. I believe Mr. Tester has
L version.
He has the wrong way L version here.
Yeah,
which is a Tom's body kit plus the stock car, and it is wrong side of the road steering.
It's resin?
Yes.
It is resin. It's gonna be. It's like
Cast
an alpha
resin.
models kit, cast resin, 3D printed parts. I believe from looking at the pictures I've seen of it, the grill is going to be preformed already on the angle.
And
what
chrome.
was that? Yeah. So what one was that?
Pressure cast?
Yes.
Pressure cast. Yeah.
Because I'm building I'm using a cast resin that wasn't pressure cast. I want to cave my own skull in with a ball peen hammer. It's not fun because you're sanding and then you find the next layer of bubbles. I've gone through like 6 times already. Ready?
Oh,
I'm
man.
really, yeah. It's almost ready for a Hulk smash.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Like
they're
this.
beautiful
Oops.
kits. Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that. Yeah.
Let me stop sharing here for a second. So this is the PZY Liberty Walk F40. So it's a fat fender. If you watch James' channel, the other James is he just built one of these things like last month. So you guys know what that is.
Look at how old I'm getting. He's showing the model, and I'm going like this. Because I can't see it.
So we each have one of those coming, and then we each so the information's out there because I found out about it because it's on sale. There's another version of the BMW Z4s, the Miku cars that he's built 2 of, and I have 2 sitting here wondering why in the world they're living in somebody's basement and nothing's been done to them. But there's another version of that coming with a different set of decals. So
my daughter got 2 Hatsune Miku statues for Christmas. She opens them up, and I look at them. I went, "Wait a minute, those are the girls on the cars that James built." And I go, "Is that Hatsune Miku?" And she looks at me like, "How do you know that? Yeah, where did you get that from?" It's a long story, sweetheart.
I know a guy.
Yeah. Do you know how to put on decals, Aria?
You want to learn?
Yeah.
Somebody one of the groups I belong to today said they're starting the AMG with the 2016 decals that Wenbin did. I was like, heat is your friend.
I'm also finishing the print of the
the
cartoon S13, the drift car. So that's on the printer right now.
Is that vanilla?
This is yellow. Elegoo sent me a 2 kilogram bottle of yellow resin, and I said, let me try this out.
Check tester out.
Well,
I know. Must be nice. Do you like it though? Do you like the qualities?
Yeah, well, it's not 8K resin, so it's just not the same. It's not quite as crisp, but these are fun. I built one.
Still water washable?
Yes.
Okay.
I built a GTR. These are kind of fun because the doors open and the trunk opens and the hood opens and there's a full engine in it. So these are fun little cars to just build.
Yeah.
And the suspension is articulated so you can slam them. Yeah.
That's crazy.
They're fun.
That is nice.
So I don't even paint them. I just print them, put them together.
Yeah. A lot of people like with the filament printing, they print in multiple colors. Some of the stuff comes off beautiful. They don't even have to paint it. It's gorgeous.
Right.
I say Marcos here was saying that contacted by Alpha to build some of their models, don't have time. Marcos, getting the free stuff is great, but Mr. Tester will attest too. They're the pushiest pushers of things there are. They want to see progress all the time.
Yeah, they will contact you weekly and say, "I haven't seen anything posted yet."
It's not really free, is it?
No, you certainly work for it. That's why I enjoy PZY. They just kind of give me the freedom to build at my own pace, and they're happy with whatever I do.
So, Mr. Frank, granted, I think we had you on the air the week after NNLE, so it hasn't quite been a whole year yet. But what are you working on recently? Like,
wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Aren't you supposed to go next and tell us what you're working on?
No, I'm the host. I go last. What am I working on? Right now, I'm holding a podcast. Later on, I'm going to go to bed. And then this week, I plan to go to work. Today, I went to a car dealership and got quoted an incredibly high monthly payment, told me where they could take that. So that's been my day.
For the Charger?
For that Charger?
No. No, I did not try to go buy. These three guys have seen the local Dodge dealership has one of the new EV Chargers in, and it is one of the first EV Chargers I've personally seen that doesn't cost like $60,000 or doesn't cost $80,000. Excuse me. All the ones I've seen advertised, there's no pictures of them because they're in transit, right? They're like, oh, we're gonna get this car. It's always Daytona scat packs and crazy optioned out cars, and they're like $90,000, $80,000. And this one is like 62, which I mean, that's a little less than my house cost 15 years ago, but it's still less than. But no, I'm not paying $6,000 to put a charger on my house to buy an EV charger. No, but no, I was at the Kia dealership, and they have a black on black Telluride, and my car is getting towards the end of the warranty, so
those Kias are sharp looking cars.
Yeah, I went in there and had a conversation with them, and the conversation was basically, I don't have enough money. So what I wanted to put down and what they weren't going to give me as much for my trade-in as I wanted for it, which was really the problem in it. Anyway, that's a bunch of boring stuff. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. But yeah, that was my day. What's going in there? The guy's like, I'm willing to wash you out of your trade, and I can get it into the low this number. And I almost went, how low is that? No, I'm not, because it was going to make my payment go up. And my payment's already high enough on the Stinger as it is. So no. By the end of the year, the end of 2025, my car will be out of its 100,000 mile warranty, and it'll have to depart. I was doing girl. It's a 2022. I'm putting 300 miles a week on it going to work.
Oh, so. Wow. Yeah, I used to do that. I was putting 60,000 miles a year on a car going back and forth to Brooklyn.
That's 2022
on the weekends.
It's 2022 that I bought in July of 2021. So, it's like cars, be 4 years old this summer. 25,000 miles a year. They try to talk me into a lease. Well, we can get you the number you want on a lease. I'm like, dude, it's a 10,000 mile a year lease. I'm going to blow the mileage out by 5,000 miles a year without ever going anywhere other than work. Like, no. I see people in the comments there. You're a truck driver. You're rich. It's not a question of whether I can afford it. It's a question I don't want to spend the money. We're talking about my payment now plus like an Alpha model stacked on top of it. Huh? That's an Alpha model I can't buy. No, I have a Lamborghini Scion to buy. I don't have time for this for a car. My resin appreciates in value. My car is just going down.
All right, can I tell people what I'm building?
Well, I tried to, but
get to the Duff Show. So go ahead, ask me.
What are you working on, Frankie?
What am I working on? I've been James Tester. I've been printing a lot of bodies, and I have a few here if you want to see them. So as we all know, I have an affinity for station wagons. So I started off, the first station wagon that I printed was this from Andre Bezrodny, and this is a 1968 Dodge Coronet wagon.
Nice.
This came out okay. It's got some pimples on it. I put some supports on it. I noticed, James, that any body where you have the curve under like this, I got a support on the outside a little bit to prevent Z shifts and cave-ins. Right. So I went through a progression. This was my first one. This is going to be a usable body. And what's interesting about it is the chassis from the Revell 68 Charger, 69 Charger too, fits right underneath. Perfect.
Get out of here.
Perfectly lines up. You might just have to add a little bit of sheet styrene in the front and the back. Fits lines right up.
The wheel well, huh?
You call me a liar?
Wheel well.
Got one right here.
Huh?
Wheel well and wheel.
You should have had that ready to go.
He's starting already, Tester. Talk to him.
Frank, are you going to make that into a mod top?
I might.
That would be cool.
I don't know. Was a mod top available that year on that car?
I don't think
69 and 70 only.
I don't think they did any mod top wagons, but that would be a cool thing to build.
So from that, I then printed out a 64 Ford Country sedan wagon. And this I'm eventually going to get to. The one that I printed out and did the episode on, I'm going to send that over to Dave Wood because I don't have time for it right now because I just print another one. They just, I press some buttons and these things show up. It's great. So this one was less about supports on the outside because it doesn't have as much of that fuselage curving.
Right.
But there were a lot of supports on the inside. But I was tuning in my support settings so that I have less witness of them regardless of where I put them. Okay. So then from there, we started to get into the colonnades of GM from the 70s. So we got this 73 Malibu, which looks like fun.
Now you're speaking my language.
Here we go. Little bit of, I had to put some supports because again, you see the curve on where it pinches in like that. You got to put a little, because Chidu Box isn't going to let you put them in here because you can't physically get in there to place them. So you got to put a few out here, and it's not a big deal. It's easier to fix the dimples that are going to be in the side of the body than it is to fix a Z shift or a cave in. You might as well throw the thing out. It's useless to you.
Right. And
then from there, I was able to print the war wagon. When I was a senior in high school, my friend Frank had a 75 Grand Le Mans wagon. One night, well, several nights, but our record was 14 kids and 2 kegs of beer in a car like this. It had the rear facing, we called it the turret, the rear facing third row seat.
Nice.
2 kegs of beer, kids everywhere. And we never got pulled over. I don't know how. I don't know how this happened. We never got pulled over once in that car. So then this thing, look at this thing. Yeah. 1970 Hearst. All of these are Andre Bezrodny files. 1970 Hearst 300, Chrysler 300. This
What's
thing's
longer,
like
the trunk or the hood?
About equal. The hood. The hood.
Okay.
But you could definitely fit a body lengthwise in this trunk, I would say. Probably 3 of them. So what's funny about that is this was a long car. The Grand Le Mans. Look at this thing.
Wow. Did you have it that 45-degree angle or what?
This was this was printed at 40 degrees. Just to get it on the build plate. And then I know I dropped a body. I had another one over here. Oh, I know what I dropped.
Don't kick it.
Then, I know. I have a bad habit of stepping on it. It's around here somewhere. But this is a 1977 Pontiac Can-Am.
Sweet.
And what's cool is Andre puts out he'll put out the Can-Am, and then he'll release a 4-door version of, even though there wasn't one. I don't think there was a 4-door version of the Can-Am, was there?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. And so they're like phantom versions. But if you think about it, that would be a good resto mod. Even the wagons, he'll put out the wagon, and it'll have a hood like a Grand Am or a Grand Prix. It's really pretty cool. Yeah. So I've been keeping myself busy with that. Sean, you had mentioned the mod tops. I'm still working on the Charger that has the mod top.
I watched your recent video on that.
Did anybody say in the comments yet you couldn't get a mod top on a Charger? Anybody?
Well, that's what's cool about it. I mean, in model cars, you can build whatever you want.
Theoretically, at the dealer level, it was probably pretty easy if you wanted to, because there's pictures floating around of a 69 Daytona that has a floral top on it.
Right.
So did it come from the factory that way? I doubt it. But at the dealer level, if you had the Scuttle, they'd do anything you want. Again, you want to put that on there? Go ahead. You could come in there with your own roll. They would do it. So at least we have that kind of latitude as car modelers. We don't have to. We're not bound by the same. Like, unless you're building like a particular race car from a particular race, you don't necessarily, or a documented replica. everything's speculative.
Yeah.
Whereas like in the armor and aircraft world, it's almost like a what if scheme. It's like, like they're almost like passe,
I always like the what ifs, the things that could have happened, but maybe, I think those are more fun to build.
I think in general, car modeling is more creative. Like you have more artistic license as a car modeler. Yeah. I guess in sci-fi modeling and in, I guess, figure painting,
right?
Yeah, you could be more speculative and do that kind of stuff. But in general, pretty much anything you can do to a real car, you could do to a model first and let it rip.
So which of those are you going to have done for NNL?
Hopefully these. Hopefully the Chargers. Hopefully I'll have the Chargers done. I'll probably have my USAC dot done. I don't have much else going in progress. And you gotta understand, before I started this channel, I was a one at a time guy. This whole YouTube thing, run with me. I never built more than one model at a time. It never happened. And once with the group builds, and that's another thing. There's 3 more group builds that I have to start, and one of them has to be done by March. JT, he's down in the chat. I got to do his Steelies, 50s and 60s on Steelies group build. For that one, I'm doing the 65. Could you get a mod top on? You could get a mod top on a Duesenberg, Tim. You could definitely get a mod top on a Duesenberg. I dare you. I dare you. You have 3 choices, Tim. So for JT's group build, I'm going to be working on the new 65 Coronet from Mobius. Have you heard of it, Sean?
I have.
I opened the box up, which naturally means I couldn't close it. Has anybody ever been able to close a Mobius box?
I have no idea how they get him in there in the first place.
I honestly, I think you could probably be canonized if you like. It's one thing if they get them in there, maybe it has something to do with but then again, if you take the plastic off of Mobius, the box still stays closed. It's once you pull that vacuum box apart,
right?
You're never getting that thing back on there. It's just never gonna do it. And it's not like weight will hold it down either. It's just like, no, sorry. This is how we are now.
Yeah. We keep making deeper boxes
to the side here because my stack of 60s kits has a.
Look at how
it was cool seeing you.
The last Mobius kits I worked on, we had to increase the depth.
Let's see if we can do James's face right now.
Oh, so, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I noticed that right as I started talking, the little swirly wheel came out. But I have a Mobius satellite and a Mobius Ventura on top of this stack of 60s kits on top because they're going to close.
They're never going to close. But they're beautiful kits.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Beautiful.
Cut all the pieces off the trees. That's how you get it to fit.
Yeah, exactly. Get all the pieces off, throw them back in. And then good luck trying to put them together. Although, are you guys bound to the instructions still?
Am I bound to the instructions?
Yeah, like do you need the instructions when you build a kit?
For a Mobius kit, I do.
Yeah, Mobius, I would say definitely a Mobius kit. But say a monogram repop from the 80s, one of their 124th.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really.
Get that whole thing together without even. I could take their instructions or use them as a paint mixing palette. Speaking of paint,
nah,
I'm just kidding. So I'm working on that. I got Dave Wood's rock and roll on wheels group build that I got to do. And I'm going to be building a lowrider for the first time. for model car 1589 Leon.
With
He's
mod
got a
top.
lowrider group. Maybe I'm
I
doing
was
a
gonna-
64 Impala, but maybe I could do something lowrider.
Now that we're talking here, Frank, I saw your video and you were talking about putting interference blue over white.
Yes, interference
it's-
green.
You're just going to end up with like a pearly look. It's not going to change color at all. It'll still seem white, but with a pearl effect to it.
For the lowrider, you mean? Yeah. I that's actually what I'm looking for. That House of Color blue,
Strato, right?
Strato blue as the body, and then on the roof, I'm looking to make that white, and then put the interference blue over the white, just to get like a little bit of a opalescence in there. Is that a word?
Yeah. So this body was black, and then I mixed the pearl powder in with clear and ended up with that.
Okay. The I have the Pearl X pigments. You ever hear of those?
Mm-hmm.
That was Don Yost. I got that idea from him. God rest him. Good guy. Yeah, so that's actually the lowrider is going to have interference.
Okay.
Are you calling? Hey, Steve, are you calling me fat? Steve, I thought we were friends. What's that supposed to mean? That's actually the like the subtle opalescence and pearlescence is the effect that I'm going for.
Okay.
Not necessarily to change the color. I want it to be white with that kind of effect. I'll play with it before I commit to the model, which, you know, like I have 4 years to do it. I gotta get this thing. I gotta get cracking. It's just I came home from vacation. I was sick for a week and a half, and I couldn't. Usually I shake it, you know, like. But these things lately, it goes, it comes back. You find for 2 weeks, you get it again. It's ridiculous.
You just pass it around the family, and you end up with it again.
My daughter's birthday is December 26th. The poor kid has been sick every single birthday she's ever had, just about. Especially since she started school. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're hitting these kids with some type of
experimental
around, the Thanksgiving plague, and then they ruin this kid's birthday and Christmas every year. I just moved my chair, and I felt like a body move. So I think the Mercury Cougar is underneath the chair. I got to be careful when I get up. Is it under there? Call out. Where are you? Because I heard it fall. But I can't find the damn thing.
Thank God it's a 3D print, so if you roll over it, it's not a...
Yeah, it's fine. It's not like it's a
Tamiya run another
911.
one.
Frank, I think one of the themes for NNL is transporters or car haulers, trailers. You gonna bring anything for that theme?
I don't have anything built for that theme, but I have a lot of kits. That's one of those things. It's almost like Catcher in the Rye with me. Like, you remember that movie with Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts, where every time he had to buy a copy of Catcher in the Rye whenever he passed by a bookstore. Like, every time I pass a hobby shop, if there's a car transporter or a kit that comes with a trailer, I got to buy it. It's like I'm programmed. That and anything like station wagon related. I'm predictable. But I don't have anything built, and I doubt I'll get anything. I'll get anything finished in time for it. Although this time, like, I don't know if I'm gonna like what the plan is, because my wife wants to visit friends in Jersey, so she might be coming to Jersey with me, which is gonna curtail a lot of my spending. Because unless somebody can run interference or whatever, you know, hey, Frank, come take a look at these models, and then I go shopping. But the transporter, do you guys remember last year Vince Labasco's? He had the Ford. It looked like a C600. And I forget what he had on the back of it. That was a beautiful, beautiful model.
I think I sort of vaguely remember.
Gorgeous.
After
Vince
our-
does beautiful work.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'd love to get something done. I got the haul away trailer. I got the Revell auto transport trailer. I got the race car hauler, Ford LN. What is that? What does that say? 300. On top of that, I got the cow drag combo. Then I got the Chevy van with race car trailer. I got a lot of stuff. I better get cracking. Conspiracy. Thank you, Randall Olson. But I was right. He had to buy a copy of Catcher in the Rye every time he saw one, or he didn't feel right. Something like that. These are the things maniacs like me pick up on. Hey, Jason, how are you? Good to see you.
What about circle track? Since that's the other theme, you got a race car back there somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what my problem is? I gotta stop giving these things away. I finished them, and then like somebody comes over, God forbid they bring a kid. You know, oh, you want a model? That's why all of my model planes are gone. The only ones I have left are a couple of airliners. Like on my Facebook page, the farther you go down, it's like planes from like 2018 on. They're all gone. I gave them away.
I'm gonna have to stop at your house. Get some new models.
Planes.
I just give them away. What am I gonna? I run out of room quickly. I use my parents' old china closet, and like I actually took all their knickknacks and put them in the attic. I said to my wife, "Get rid of this. Just throw it out." Because it's Waterford crystal. I go, what do I care? We don't drink out of it. Get rid of it. Go sell it. Go buy yourself something. Get it out. I need the room. No, it's nice stuff. Get this crap out of here. I need space to put model cars in.
Plastic toys.
Yeah, exactly.
Good idea. I should talk to my wife about putting my model cars in the dining room, like with the next to the dining table.
Frank, you've seen the video I did at his house. You've seen how many model cars he has.
Yeah. That's some setup you got there, Sean. That is no joke. That's a lot of display. And not for nothing, Mr. Tesla. You're not doing too bad yourself.
I just have 4. That's all I have 4.
What's it? Just 4.
Just 4.
Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, those are rookie. You got to bump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this game, in this racket. I have a small display case behind me, but that's more for like a holding pattern for stuff that's in progress. I actually have a lot of 3D printed wheels that I'm going to be using for, like this one is going on Steelies, but they're going to be low profile, wide Steelies, almost like a resto mod.
Okay.
And this one, the ugly green one, is going to get the same. They look like the same wheels that are on the Bullet Charger, but also like a resto mod. Those are Z-Force Model Works. Beautiful files. Lots of fun to print and put together. And once you get the printer dialed in, then you're up for days printing stuff. Like your only limit is, you got to have a steady stream of resin. like everybody's getting oil delivered this time of year. I'm getting resin delivered
by the drum.
Yeah, exactly. I would if I could get it by the drum. That'd be great. I got the thing in September. I've probably gone through. Oh, I don't know. It comes in a kilogram. Yeah, probably 15, 20 kilograms of resin so far. I have more
Those
wheels.
Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, you got to
pump that up.
You got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
I can go through a kilogram in a weekend. No problem.
You know what it is though? Like
easy to do when it's free.
What's the lowest temperature that you'll print in?
Well, I have heaters in my printers now. So one of So my Saturn IV, I was getting misprints bad. They were delaminating from the thing, and so for the Saturn IV, I have a Chitu Systems heater, and it's like a little square heater, and it's got a thermostat. So so what I found is you can't leave it inside. No, it's different than that. You can't leave it inside the printer while it's printing. What I do is I preheat the printer up to 80 degrees or so, and then I take it out and then print like my base layers, and everything's fine after that. It'll go down to, because the LED keeps all of the resin warm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But the Saturn III, the Ultra, they sent me that thing that you have. And I was like, 26 degrees Celsius. Oh, that'll be fine. I was getting the same problems. It was heating up the inside of the printer so much that stuff was just pulling off of the supports. So it was too hot. So
there's a sweet spot that you got to get to. Yeah.
So I do the same thing. I preheat that for like an hour at 26, and then I just turn it off and then print whatever I want.
Okay.
So 5-hour print, no problem.
You know what else I find helps a lot? These little things. These little carbon activated charcoal. Got like 6 of them. I put 2 inside the printer, and then I also have it ducting out to a Mars Mate air purifier, and then I got a Fakakta like grow tent that I throw over it that has a duct that goes right out and less than 6 feet out of the sill of my house.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even smell. You can't even smell the resin at all. It's really, and then I'll have 2 of those little carbon things inside the printer under the hood, and then I'll put the rest of them around, and just and then like if there's something, like if I'm printing a body, I'll leave my spray booth for my airbrush on. Just get it all out of here.
Yeah. Same.
Just if you can't smell it, you're probably okay.
Safe.
But I've been sniffing glue and lacquer thinner for 45 years. I'm fine.
No brain damage.
Yeah, none. No. And it doesn't help that my line of work, early in my career, I worked with a lot of lead. The telephone cables were all lead.
Oh,
fine. Everything's fine. No problem.
This question popped up here. Do any of you use a 3D scanner?
No.
I think they've sort of come down in price enough that it's a feasible purchase, but like you'd have to have some specific stuff that you're trying to replicate to have that be viable. Like,
yeah. And
that's a lot of questions about that too.
Yeah.
I think you would have to be like able to design in CAD to do your own work, first of all. And then if you had something where you wanted to specifically change a bumper or something like that, where you wanted to scan the body in so that your CAD fit the kit itself, would come in handy. But so far, neither one of these, this way, that way, neither one of these two have taken their CAD classes yet.
When you scan something, you're scanning it in 2D. You're not getting any thickness, and so then you need CAD experience to make the depth of it.
Yeah. That's more of a, I don't know if I'm going to get into that. I got to be honest with you. There's only so much more, because then that's software cost, and then you have to have a computer that can handle it. Like the computer that I'm talking to you on now with Chitterbox, that thing, sometimes it sounds like an 86-year-old smoker with asthma. Who is a coal miner. He's like, oh, for the love of God, I'm slicing this thing.
You'd have to give up. You'd have to give up either YouTube, building, or printing if you got into design.
Yeah,
can't do all 4.
And keep my day job. Although I would love
right.
I'd love to quit my day job. I really would.
You're sunsetting over there. It's only a couple of years. You're right there. This popped up here asking me, do I think if there's going to be a Mustang GTD kit or possibly a trans kit? This is in reference to the fact that the Mustang won its class at 24 Hours at Daytona yesterday. I have been for 2 years now, ever since the Corvette and the Mustang became GT3 platforms, been telling anyone who would listen at Salvino's, hey, you have a license from NASCAR. It just so happens the people who own NASCAR own IMSA, Ford, Chevy, American cars. You guys should make model kits of those. Because, I mean, yeah, to me, it made the old GT4 Mustang. I don't know if they're going to do a new one. Trans kit, I guess you could probably do a body for the chassis. I don't know that the chassis changed enough for anybody to care, although it probably did, but it's a model kit. You give a crap about the bottom of your model ultimately. I'd love to see a kit of one. I'd buy several, but is it going to come? I don't know. There's no plans for one as of yet. I mean, the big
maybe.
Yeah,
Salvino's will do it.
I figured Salvino's do it, or maybe Revell would do it. But I know that from talking to Sexton that they didn't want any part of doing the Corvettes. So I don't think that's why I was talking to the people at Salvino's about it, because if Revell's not going to do it, somebody should. Both those cars are global GT3 platforms, so they're not just used here in the United States. They're used for every GT3 series, which now includes the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So you ought to be able to sell it globally. I'd love to see it. Is it going to be? I don't know. Like I said, the end of this month, we're here like 2 days too early. The end of this month is the Nuremberg Toy Fair in Germany. So we should get stuff out of Europe on that. Maybe Revell's Germany stuff they didn't announce on New Year's Day like they usually do. And then May is Shizuoka. So that would be Japan, and if there's anything new out of new, but I almost got myself demonetized there. I mean, everything is so far behind those guys. If they said they're going to do a Mustang, the car would stop running by the time the kit would get here. So,
yeah. I think
when's that M4 coming?
The BMW M4. Your guess is as good as mine. I went and looked the other day because it was supposed to be out this week, and now it's been moved to the middle of February. So, okay, it's doing that perpetual backwards slide through the calendar that the Porsches did and everything else. So whenever they get around to it, I guess.
I think that Mustang GTD would be a really great subject for an all new kit. I think
the street car would be a subject for a new kit.
Absolutely.
Because the Ford dealership, speaking of being a car, my Kia dealership part of a Ford dealership, and they had a dark horse in the dealership. Ooh. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, that car to me should have some carbon fiber on it, and everything is just a matte black, like plastic. And for a $70,000 car, that seems kind of stupid. At least give me a carbon fiber rear wing or something. But anyway,
Frank, you built that one, didn't you? Dark Horse.
I downloaded it. I didn't build it.
Okay.
I did find the Mercury Cougar.
Hey,
I didn't run it over.
67.
67.
Okay.
She's a beaut. What do you got? The kit? Yay! How much is that? Is that a reissue or?
No, that's an original. I paid, I paid almost as much for that as I would for a resin kit. Yeah, you paid $10
bucks.
$20. Yeah, well, I got glass, Frank.
Many as I want. Yeah, that's the next challenge. Believe it or not, is figuring out either vacuum forming or using the bucks as templates. But I did finally figure out printing clear resin. So
I'm still working on that. How are you keeping them clear?
Not curing them.
Okay.
Don't cure them. This is Elegoo ABS like 3.0 Pro translucent. I changed my slice settings to 4 micron thick layer with 6 bottom layers at 35 seconds per layer, and then 5 transition layers. Then each layer, like I said, 4 microns, 0.040 millimeters. And then that is at 3 seconds per layer. Okay. And I printed, this is the glass for the schooner, the Hearst 300. And I printed up the headlights and taillights for the Malibu, the 81 Malibu. They came out well. So I get them out off the printer, off the build plate, pop them off, spray them down, spritz them down with Elegoo detergent. Mm-hmm. Zesty. Then 99% alcohol. Okay. I wick off the moisture. Then I hit them. Believe it or not, once the alcohol evaporates, I blow it off with the shop compressor, and to get all the moisture off. Then, once all the moisture's off, I let it sit for about an hour. Come down to Tamiya TS13.
Oh,
acrylic clear.
I was gonna say how are you sealing it so that they aren't sticky,
shiny. And
yeah, because I just printed some clear stuff and it looks like an old ashtray.
Yeah, it does. It looks burnt. It looks burnt. If you what did I have some failures over here. I got a lot of failures everywhere, folks. But I have some failures. It gives if you cure the resin or if you leave it unsealed, it gives it, very much like that yellowish ashtray look from the 70s. Right. J Hart. Justin Hart. I use Nova 3 crystal clear resin. I wash and give it a short cure. Then 2 or 3 GX112 UV cut. Yeah. I have that, but I don't know where the hell it is. It's somewhere over there. I can't find it. UV cut would be good because that's gonna block. Like you could put that, you could expose it to sunlight. Not that we put them in the sun very often, but it would prevent the UV rays from yellowing it over time, which is a problem. It happens. Right. I tell you, once we overcome and we make it easier to do the windows, forget it. Forget it. What kit manufacturer is going to do who's going to do a Can-Am? Anybody? Like falling over themselves to get a license for a Pontiac? They're not doing that. They're not doing a station wagon. I'm going to name my next kid. It's going to be a tough one anyway. But I'm going to name my next kid Andre. That's right. I am. That guy releases stuff. I check it every morning to see. He's got a new one. $10. You got it, kid. So I love it. Just going through the files, just putting them on the build plate to see how they look is fun. And like if I don't have time to do the supports and stuff like that, much less print it. Some of these bodies, I started printing at 2 microns. Where is it? Oh, I did a 66 Malibu that just started up an explosive thread on Lucas's Facebook group. It's like 600 replies to it because I tilted it this way and angled it that way. And guys, what are you doing that for? What's wrong with you? Why you chill? Calm down. I want to see something. What am I? I'm not telling anybody to do nothing. But some of this one, 21 hours to print. It was like Bill Geary numbers. Like, because he says it could take 29 hours. Sorry, Bill. I apologize. I won't use your name in vain again. All of my shop cards just fell down. But once you get some of these things, they could take 30 hours to print. And if you're printing at 2 microns,
Put Just think about that. Start that on a Friday night. And that's not going to finish until sometime
Saturday afternoon.
Sunday. Yeah.
It's a new 24-hour challenge for the 24
Yeah.
hour. Can you
Yeah.
print the body in the 24 hours?
Did you see that they came out with a 16K SAT4 Ultra?
I did.
Burning a hole in my profit sharing award.
Yeah.
I might do it. When does that hit? That hits in March.
But you've already got the tilting vat and the Wi-Fi. So you're only jumping up with the
resolution.
The heated vat and the resolution.
Yeah. For the heat, where I am now, because you'll notice I'm in short sleeves, and before I'll just beat the comments and say no, it's not because of my blubber, but it's like 65 degrees down here.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I have a little space heater, but I got to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of space heaters if I'm going to be operating the printer or the spray booth. Why risk it, you know?
Right.
So, I don't want to bring. It's not like I'm not going to bring the resin upstairs to keep it warm. I want to leave it down here because this is the unfinished part of the basement. We got a finished part right there, and I don't want to bring this stuff into the livable parts. Like, this is my little punishment area. It's where I get confined to.
Chained to your furnace.
Yeah.
Oops. This one here. Mr. Tester, enjoyed your vacuum forming video. Have you experimented any more with it?
I did. I printed some windows recently, the bucks. I printed the bucks and then did some vacuum forming. I got some new plastic. I think they called it 8 mil, which is a lot thinner than the PET G 20,000ths that I was using before. And it seemed to work pretty good, but I'm not ready to do a video on it yet because I haven't perfected it yet.
It's true. It's Catholic school. 13 years of Catholic school. It's all I yearned for. It's punishment. And they were happy to dish it out.
Tim and Frank are comic relief in the comments here. So now with one of them on the air, Tim's doing double duty over there.
I did notice Tim on Model Cars video channel.
I watched that last night. That was a cool episode.
Tim, you got to get in this show.
Speaking of Tim, did you see that bathtub show rod thing that he built for the 24-hour build?
No, I didn't.
Oh, let me see if I can find it real quick. Tim, because this past weekend, if you guys weren't aware, for the people that are on Facebook, I think it started in Canada, but at this point, Gary Kolchuk and the guys down in West Virginia have been running a 24-hour build that coincides with 24 hours of Daytona for many years now.
That was this weekend?
Yeah, this past weekend, yeah. So this past weekend was the 19th annual version of that, and so 20th anniversary will be next year. And let's see, Tim. What did Tim post this under? His customs name. Let me pull these pictures real quick. I can share the screen.
Hurry up!
Ow! You're not in charge of this. We have not vetted your application for fourth chair at this point. Let's see. That's showing. There you go. So yeah, this is the bathtub buggy. Some show rod doohickey or another. I didn't even know this kid existed prior to
Is that a toilet seat for the seat back?
I believe so, yeah. You're
the best, Tim.
Yeah.
You're the best.
It's a sink up front here, and then it's got like a dressing table with the makeup lights, and then it's got this
toilet paper roll on the floor.
Toilet paper roll on the floor, and it's got the bathtub back here with a shower nozzle hanging off. This is apparently a Revell kit because this is Revell instructions.
Right.
Yeah. And then here's the other side of it here. So I'm guessing. Oops, let's go. This is like a chamber pot here, I'm guessing.
You know what I gotta hand it to
like
Tim
a towel.
I would never think, like, if I saw that at a show or something, I would never think to buy that. Never in a million years. But that, you could tell that's the kind of thing he looks for. Like the unique stuff. And he'll do something fantastic with it, like he just did.
Tim saying in the comments is put together with Teflon tape.
Did you sweat that together?
I say, is it fit together one of those shark mouth pipe connectors?
Shark bites, yeah.
But yeah, so Tim built that in 24 hours. That's, you know, that the people who actually do that and finish it and have it look good in the process. Like that's a skill in of its own, getting something done in 24 hours. So. That just seeing him comment in here, that made me think of that. Like, 'cause I saw that pop up in passing because everybody posts what they're going to build, and there's two different people that are going to build the Mobius tow truck, which I thought was they both I think got it. They both got it done, but I thought that was an interesting attempt. Right, it's going to take this 200-piece model and throw it together in a course of a day. But like he popped up with that bathtub thing. I had never seen it before. I mean, it has to go back to the 60s or the 70s somewhere. And I wonder if Atlantis has that tooling at this point, because I can't imagine the German Revell kept that. And I don't think it's been released out of China, so I don't think it's over there.
Atlantis is about 17 miles that way. Their factory. It's in. So I passed by it one day, but there's nothing on the outside that would say it. Like I felt like creepy knocking on the door. So I see them at shows. They're nice guys.
Yeah, I think they've got like so much a museum, but they've got a little display area set up front with all the memorabilia and stuff. They have a bunch of the old Monogram and Revell displays and the sales, the sales cabinets and stuff like that.
Oh, wait a minute. I clicked on the wrong one.
Both. Atlantis, the Lost City, is you got to go past MacArthur Airport and then another 12 miles out to sea is Atlantis.
Speaking of the airport.
There's actually U-boats sunk. Not that far that way. They used to hit them. They used to get them right off the coast. The like Fire Island. They used to hit them. There was coastal batteries out there. Used to shoot at them. And there was an enclave of people that lived out east in Suffolk County that used to go out in rowboats and give the guys on the U-boats fresh water and bread.
Speaking of airports, you mentioned in one video you did, I think it was before you got hurt, about being close to the airport, watching the planes take off and land and stuff like that. Where I live right now, we're directly underneath the descent from under 10,000 feet. So every single plane that flies over slows down as it comes over my house. And then
that's a cool sound, though.
Where I work is directly underneath the landing path, Pittsburgh International. So I watched that video and I was trucking along to it, and then I was at work going as the planes go by. So I was like, I can relate.
That was one of my. That's usually one of my side tracks when I stop building cars. I'll build airliners, and then like World War II model planes and stuff. I'm actually going to do a 1/48 scale plane this year. Edward came out with Wildcats, the Grumman and GM World War II Navy planes. So I'm going to do an FM1 Wildcat with the taller tail. Those were made by GM. I have that kit. It's somewhere. I can't find it, so I went and I bought another one.
One of two airplanes kits I have.
Let me tell you, Edward makes a nice kit. Nice planes. Really, really nice. Beautiful stuff. Their aftermarket is gorgeous, too. Like their resin and their brass.
Is that Texas? No, Omaha. Omaha Nats was what. So that's 3 summers ago. That kit was released at the IPFS Nationals. Like it hadn't been released anywhere in the world. Edward sent like cases and cases of them over. They were literally building them on their table. Like they had the boxes flat packed and they were popping boxes, throwing trees in. They were literally, and everybody was buying one. And they're like, well, shit, I got to buy one too. So I did.
You know what they have? And let me run it past you guys. They have, Edward does a thing where they have the weekend edition, which is just the kit decals. Then you have the Profit Pack, it's called. It's the kit. It comes with a mask, so you can mask off the canopy, which in model planes is one of the harder things. It's not that it's hard; it's a pain in the neck. It comes with a pre-cut mask that you just put on the canopy panels to paint it. It comes with a photo etch fret, usually colored photo etch, like pre-painted photo etch set. And then they also have a thing called over trees, which is they're like $20. I have a set of over trees over there for the Wildcat. It's just the sprues. It's just the parts. There's the photo etch, colored pre-painted photo etch.
Nice.
The
kind of like
F4,
what Quint
F3.
is doing, huh?
Well, this is on metal. And Quinta,
like metal.
The Quinta 3D printed decals, if you're building a model, serious, no joke. If you're building a model, check out Hobby Nut Models and see if he has a Quinta Studios 3D decal for that model. If he does, buy it, because I put those in the two 911s, the Porsches that I did for the Porsche group build.
Yeah,
beautiful stuff, gorgeous stuff, and goes on like a decal, but it's like like you cut the thing out like the radio face. You cut it out, you drop it in water, and the next thing you know, you're putting it on, and it looks better than anything you're going to be able to paint. Because in my eyes, I can't see nothing anymore. And these things, they're gorgeous.
I say before we go too far off the airplane track here, the thing about the Edwards kits, they give you multiple building options. There's 6 sets of decals, more not sets, but 6 different ways you can build the airplane off the decal sheet. So
yeah,
give you some option. Plus Edward, if you want to play with Edward, they've got, for that plane alone, they've got 3 different sets of resin wheels for it. They've got the bronze landing gear. They say the bronze landing gear. It's got gun barrels for it. I think there's cockpit replacement for it. I think there's an entire resin cockpit replacement, which just cast it the right way the first time. But yeah, and then they do like 900 versions of it. There's an F4 F1, F4 F2. They did the Wilder Cat version. Not too
Sean, don't go into the light. Stay with us. Don't do it, Sean. We're losing them.
I was looking up something.
Yeah, Edward, if you can't, their website, if you order from them, it comes for coming from Europe, it comes pretty quickly. Like 2 weeks, you get it.
Yeah, and if so you can get that stuff from Squadron too.
You got to diversify.
Squadron carries it.
Dip your toes in as many ponds as you can.
I have that one, and I have the P38 Tamiya kit because I won that in the raffle in Las Vegas. Those were my.
That's a beautiful kit. You can take the parts of that kit, and not to go off on the plane tangent, but that's almost snapped together. That's how.
Wow.
That's precise, how, and sublime and just intricate. It's beautiful, beautiful.
Alrighty then, Sean.
Sean, wake up.
I'm awake. My internet, my connection is really bad. I'm like there's a huge lag behind.
So as we're saying, it's good.
What are you working on box art wise? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, so I don't know how well is that. So Mobius will be coming out with some 64 Comets. A couple different versions. They already did the 65 Comet. So this is an all new 64 Comet kit.
Okay.
It will share some parts with the 65. I think the chassis is interchangeable, engine, stuff like that. But it's all new body, all new interior. And there will be a couple different versions on it. So I've been working on the box art for that. Don't like send messages to your distributor or hobby shop like, hey, when is that going to be? Who knows? Like I'm way ahead. I don't even think the kits have been tooled yet. So yeah, don't hold your breath. I have no idea when you'll see these kits. I just happened to be ahead of schedule and had time to work on some box art, so I'm doing that. Let's see. That's all I've got on my plate. I finished up a few things, but yeah,
can't really talk about those. All right,
talk about it. I do work for round 2.
First rule of knowing Sean, you can't talk about Sean.
Round 2 likes to keep their cards closer to the vest, so they like to announce it first.
Did I hear that Aaron Skinner is going to be working for round 2?
Who's Aaron Skinner?
I don't know.
He was the editor of Fine Scale Modeler.
Oh, I don't know that.
That's right. I forgot. I'm talking to car guys.
Yeah, we all went, what? No more Scale Auto? Well, the hell with that magazine.
I let my subscription to Fine Scale Modeler go too. I had it for 25 years. Once the last issue of Scale Auto came, cancel.
I say there's a couple of things in the comments about future Mobius kits there. Guys, they'll be whenever they'll be. Like there's no release. One thing Mobius I will give them credit for is they never offer release dates on anything, so nothing's ever late because you don't know when it's coming. So
I do know about the Chevy trucks, the first ones that will probably come out, and who knows when, but the first ones that are being scheduled to be developed are the 67 short bed, 67, 68 short bed, 6 foot and steps, or fleet side and step sides.
I'm not a pickup truck guy, but I like that 68 Chevy short bed pickup truck. Slammed on 20s. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it'd be pretty sweet. But I haven't even seen CAD for that yet, so I don't even know. It's more just like in planning stages at this point.
Right.
I would think it would be, considering the stuff that already is tooled and already exists, like the BFX Comet and the I'm still calling it Day 2 4x4 that you just did the box art for and that stuff. I mean, you're probably talking the end of the year ish before you start seeing new stuff, at least the third quarter. So like, it ain't gonna be before the summertime, guys.
You won't see Chevy pickups in 25.
Yeah. It's not like the
huge stuff.
It's not like our friends in China that can push out a kit in 3 months, start to finish.
They have a small team of part-timers and they're mostly passion projects. The people that work on them, they work on them just for, enjoyment. So they're done when they're done. But the Chevy trucks should be pretty cool. I mean, they're scoped to be like the Ford trucks, where they're pretty comprehensive. You will eventually see, I think, 6 foot.
Every one of them.
Yeah, and two-wheel drive, 4-wheel drives, and some. I'm sure you'll see a lot of different versions, but it will take many years for them to all hit the market, if ever.
Right.
So as we were saying when we came on here to refresh for people who've joined us since, it's 89 days till NNL East. Web theme is Ford trucks, AMT, and Mobius. The host hotel for people who are coming from out of town, that doesn't count for Frank down there since he has to just fight the traffic over into the other side of the real world, is been announced. It's an Embassy Suites in Parsippany, which is a little further away than the hotels have been, but it's a pretty nice hotel. If you want to get that hotel room, I would suggest going on the NNL East website and booking it, because I don't know how many rooms that hotel has, but it probably will, their block of rooms will probably sell out. And then NNL Eats, the thing that everybody goes to on Friday night for the dinner thing, is in the hotel restaurant instead of being out at Dave & Buster's at the mall like it has been the last couple of years. So, if you're going to stay at the hotel and want to go to the NNL Eats thing, getting a room at the hotel is probably pretty handy. Plus, there's like a breakfast buffet at Embassy Suites. That's like the best breakfast in hotel rooms. It is also 190 days to the IPMS Nats in Virginia. Hotels for that will go up February 1st. If you've never experienced the run on hotels for an IPMS Nationals, expect any IPMS Facebook page to explode in angry old men fussing about not being able to get a room. Those ones go fast. And then the other show, since we're talking about shows here, Frank, you want to talk about this? Since this was your personal request here, was the Long Island IPMS show. Let me pop the flyer up.
Yes, so that's my local IPMS show that's put on by the Long Island Scale Model Society. 32nd year, and I've been to almost every one since about 2008, and then in 2016 or 2017 I joined the Suffolk County IPMS, the Francis Gabreski chapter, and unfortunately that one kind of folded up when the honcho. But my friend Jim Belucos, who is a car guy, excellent model car guy, is the president of the Long Island Scale Model Society, and it's a good show. If you went to the Liars show back in November, it's in the same place that the Liars show is held. If you remember the layout of the Liars show, the layout is similar, but there's more tables. There are more models. They typically, I think, in the area of 300 to 400 on a really good year, and a great mix of every genre. So they even have like the figure flats. They're almost 2-dimensional, and like they're almost like an icon that people paint. Just beautiful stuff. So it's definitely a show you should put on your calendar. It's a lot of fun. I'll be there in rare form as always. Yeah. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually kind of shy in person. If but get out
of here.
No, it's not true. I'm a jerk no matter where I go. But definitely come check it out. It's a good show. Put on by a great bunch of guys, and please come down. So that's going to be Saturday, March 22nd, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Freeport's not that hard to get to. As far as Long Island is concerned, you're basically getting off the highway in Long Island before most of the really bad things happen. All the stupid stuff happens further on down the southern state. Although, there's some stupid stuff by exit 17, but it's not that time of the morning. It won't be that hard to get to. So please come on down. And I'm gonna announce the show at every one of my upcoming videos until it airs, because they really are a great bunch of guys, and I'm looking forward to the show.
And because I'm stuck in everything here. Let's see. Yeah. There we go. Since Marco's requested the plug, and we had him on, and we like him here, the Mid-Atlantic NNL, which is the Mama Boys down there in Maryland, May 10th, 2025. The Level Volunteer Fire Department in Havre de Grace, which is, if you are in that area and you go to IPMS shows, that's where the Marauder Con is held. That same venue. So that'll be. Are
you guys gonna go?
No, I don't think I'll be there.
It's a bit far for me.
I say that for me, it's a 5-hour drive. So it's
Maryland's about a 5-hour drive for me.
But
3 hours of it's getting out of getting off Long Island.
So he requested a plug. We give him a plug here. 60s drag cars, Mopars, the themes for that show.
Frank's got a few of those.
So let me get off that to get back onto that flyer. For people who are listening to this and not watching it, the Long Island show is March 22nd, which is a Saturday, at the Freeport Recreation Center in Freeport, New York.
130 East Merrick Road. Am I right?
I believe you are correct. Yes, that's what happens when you go. Because what happens when you go to a venue, the same place for 32 years, right? If you're in Pittsburgh, Three Rivers IPMS show is the same day as the Long Island show, March 22nd at the Beatty Career Center north of Pittsburgh, same place it's been for the last 20 some odd years too. So if you want to,
you're not coming to the Long Island show.
No, I believe I have to. I believe I have to. Yeah. Get up in a big hurry, crush something. See if we aren't laughing. One thing I wanted to sort of talk about. This was in relation to Mr. Tester's video he just put out a video regarding his shelf of doom shame over there. All the kits that he has that are 50% or more done, basically, that need to be finished. I would vote for the Z4, but I know the decal issue with that. Like, the decals are not the right ones, even though it's so close. And building those Z4s from where you're at is like a 5-minute exercise because there's like no chassis to that at all, and the interior is like a half a day worth of work. But obviously, the Yaris has to get done.
Yes. Yeah.
Both those Fujimi kits could probably be built in the weekend too, because those Fujimi kits don't really amount to much body and chassis wise, or interior and chassis wise either. But he had done this thing about the Shelf of Doom, and there was a comment in that video regarding the fact that you shouldn't sweat the fact that you have unbuilt projects because the hobby is supposed to be fun. And so, personal statement here. This has nothing to do with Mr. Tester. I find that if you are angrily telling me how much fun I should be having in a hobby, you yourself are not having fun in the hobby and perhaps do not understand what fun is. It's a little bit of gatekeeping. Not to say that guy in particular was gatekeeping, but just the idea. It's been going on since I came back into being on forums and then on Facebook. There's a variety of people that will say that you know detailing a model kit isn't fun. Using an airbrush isn't fun. Like, I understand that building the model kit at the level you want to build at, how you want to build it, using whatever you want to do to build it is your personal decision. I'm not here to tell you how to build your model. But in that same vein, don't tell me how to build mine either. Like, just because you don't like to do decals, just because you don't want to do photo etch, doesn't mean that nobody else does. Because you don't consider those things to be, air quotes, fun, doesn't mean that other people don't have fun doing those things.
Right.
I love doing decals. Decals are my zen spot. I can tune out for 5 hours doing this, the stuff that James is doing with those Miku things on all of those kits. That to me is fun. Bare metal foil to me, I don't have a problem with it. So it's fun. There are people that are in this call right now that could not possibly want to do a thing with bare metal foil as he shakes his head no down there in the corner.
I'd rather punch myself in the face until my nose falls off.
But yeah, again, just a personal statement there that if you're telling me aggressively.
But I love the people who produce it. I'm sure they're wonderful human beings.
Well, yeah.
I wish them nothing but success and happiness.
But if you're telling me in a violent manner that something is or isn't fun, I don't think that you personally are having fun with it. I don't believe you, sir, are having fun.
Bare metal foil is not fun for me. Some people like you said, they get into their zen doing it, and cool. I wish I could get there, and I've tried to get there, but in frustration, I've moved to different methods, and I still use it when I can if I get a good sheet. Yeah,
decals and polishing paint are my zen.
Yeah, I could get that.
Yeah. I'd hope so.
James, Mr. Tester, I was impressed that you had that many cars like painted and decaled and ready to be assembled, but weren't.
Well, that's my favorite part to do is paint, polish, and then the rest of it is no fun. So
I probably have.
It actually makes sense.
I probably have a dozen kits that are close to, like that I've started. I've done all the prep work, the body work's done. Then the painting is the curve for me, like they're the peak. Once it's painted, it'll get assembled and done.
Interesting.
There's a lot of stuff that I've started, it's ready for paint, and then it'll sit in a box for years. But I don't have anything that's not paint or anything that's painted that isn't finished.
Interesting.
Because once that's like, I don't know why, but that seems like that for me is when that gets critical mass and gets finished.
Frank, where's your plateau?
My biggest obstacle is if I have a body like a cast resin, poorly crappy cast resin body, you can lose me fast. And I don't have a shelf of doom.
Oh.
I Hulk smash my stuff and I just throw it in the garbage. I do.
Move on.
There's no models. There's no models where I just walked away. If it's not working, then I don't want the reminder. I'll just throw it in the garbage. I won't necessarily really hit it, but there are times where I've just looked at it, I go, this is not going well, and I'll get rid of it and I'll start over. Because what I find, and one of the things that I do, and all of this is my problem. I'll be so fixated on fixing one problem, I'll create another problem. And then as I'm trying to fix that problem, of something else, and then I'll notice it. And what's starting to bother me is, I don't know if it's that I'm getting older. My attention span isn't what it used to be, and I'll forget what I was working on, and then what was I doing? And then I get mad, and I'm like, you know what? Screw this thing. But now at least I swear, this is the good thing about the channel. I could go back and watch my videos, and what the hell was I doing with this thing? Like these things, I've been building these two things since May. That's the longest I've ever had something in progress. But with all the other stuff going on, all I have to do at this point is do the engines and the interiors. Everything else is done. The bodies are painted. They're foiled. They have mod tops on them. They have dust on them. But if I reach a point where it's starting to really bother me, and I don't think, like, if I'm digging more holes than I'm filling, I'll throw it out. It's just plastic, start all over again. This is a lifetime of collecting, and there's plenty of stuff to keep me interested. And I give so many of them away. I'm not really married to them, it's the process. And if the process is going well and I'm having fun, it's not that I have a hair trigger and I'll just throw it in the garbage. I am going to try, but if it gets to the point where it does stop becoming fun, then I might move to something else for a little bit. But I've been doing it long enough to know where there's a hole you're not going to be able to dig yourself out of, and it becomes like there's a lessening return on your investment of time and materials. So at some point you got to cut it loose, Yeah. With the exception, like the blue Porsche that I was working on, the 911, that I honest to God, I accidentally dropped it on a carpet in the next room, padded carpet, and a big deal. And I figured like it went off to the side. Then I kicked it. I'm like, all right, it's probably still okay. And then a step later, I stepped on it while I was carrying the other 5 bodies. And that was the only one, because that body was coming out the best out of all of the Porsches that I was working on. So that one broke my heart because it was totally unintentional. But there have been models where I'm just, this out of here. Especially with planes. Some of those planes will drive you crazy. Some of these off-brand planes that, because I like to build esoteric stuff. So if you want a Sonya, a Japanese plane, you're buying some off-brand stuff that's going to go together like garbage. A lot of that stuff winds up in the pail. You buy it for cheap on eBay. And this isn't fun. Not worth it. And I toss it. So there is no shelf of doom. There's stuff like this that needs to get done. But I enjoy the most painting. And once I get the polish done, that can give me the motivation to get through the foiling. And sometimes if I get a good sheet that's relatively new, then it's not that bad. But most of my problems with foil Again, on me. I'm the problem. So you got to get through it. And then what I'll usually do, because I'm stupid, is I can make beautiful sub-assemblies, and then in final assembly, I screw the pooch on everything because I want to get it done. And I'll have the engine, and it looks magnificent. And I'll try to and I test fit everything so that the exhaust is from the tailpipe to the headers. They're all one piece and test fit. They're supposed to be perfect, and then they don't fit. That's when I start losing it and I start screwing it up.
Yep.
So some things could wind up very easily, and it's happened during final assembly where they get you have 5 more minutes to get yourself together. Figure out how you do. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to have some soda. I'm going to come downstairs. You better straighten this out. It's like I'm the nun from the Catholic school that I went to when I was a kid. I want to know which one of you pulled her hair. When I come back to this classroom, I want a name. Nobody ever gave up the name, just like the model doesn't straighten itself out. So that's how you wind up. But that's like what James Duff, what you were talking about, that guy that like angrily was trying to enforce fun on the hobby. Those are the gatekeepers that I was talking about. They roam the internet looking for people to yell at. Because people are tired of, like, it's either that or they stand on their porch and get off my lawn.
For me, the things that don't get finished are usually because something else will happen in my life that will take me away from modeling for weeks or months or something. And then by the time I come back to it, I've got an idea for something else, or something I've got, a new kid or whatever, and I get inspired by something else and I want to work on that. And then I never circle back to the thing that I was working on. So I usually I haven't given up on anything where I'm like, nah, this is, you saw that station wagon I built. It sat for 7 years waiting for the paint to cure. It finally got built. So I don't throw things away, but I just get distracted. If it doesn't get painted, usually if it gets painted, it'll get finished. But so many things will happen between that and getting it painted.
Scale Effect brought up a good question here. What's the best way to overcome small body blemishes that happen late in the build? Master at burning through paint, polishing in tiny spots. And fixing it usually makes it worse. Yeah.
Elliot,
decal.
Here's what you do.
Put a decal over it.
Here's what you do. When you're polishing, you don't have to polish peaks. Put tape. Cut a small strip. To me, it makes tape that's 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters thick. Just put tape there. Because it doesn't take, believe me, it doesn't take a lot to burn through paint or clear. You could burn right through the plastic in two swipes. If you're not realizing where you are, and oh wow, I'm right by a peak. That's why, like, I'll do that. I'll get into a groove where I'll forget where I am. That's why I usually tape my peaks off with 2 millimeter tape. And when I'm using sanding, I tend to use Trizact.
I just started using that.
Yeah, it's foam backed. So 3,000, 5,000, 8,000 is what I use generally with this. I keep going. I try to find substitutes because, I'm stupid and I'm easily distracted. But I always come back to these because these really haven't burned me too bad. And
where do you find that at?
Amazon,
okay.
15 sheets, and each car is 1 inch by 2 inches, and I have enough probably for 10 years. I think it costs $35 for 15 sheets. It's worth it.
Okay. Yeah,
it's worth it. And then after that, where is it? McGuire's 105 compound on the ubiquitous $15 Amazon.
I got one of those.
Everybody's got it. And it goes by, this one is a Tack Life.
Yep.
And it changes names, but it's the same thing. On the second setting with McGuire's, then Scratch X 2.0. And once in a while, I might get to like Tamiya finish if I'm finding that I have like a little bit of a, not haze, but like light scratches. And you could go, once you're done with sanding, don't go back to sanding. Stay in the polish and the compound. Stay there. Unless you still have orange peel. So the sanding is where you're gonna burn through, but just watch your peaks, because that's where it's gonna get you every time. And to fix it, unfortunately, if you're painting with lacquer, this body I burned through on the roof of this, and I masked off. I masked off the roof and repainted it, and I lucked out because it's the same color. Go figure. Me. It happens. It happens, and then no matter what, invariably you're gonna. I don't know how Marcos does it. I don't know. There's no dust anywhere near that man. Meanwhile, all of it's. I'm like Pigpen. Like it's like I'm walking around and swirling a cloud of dust. It looks like a chicken cutlet when I'm done painting a body. It's just part of it. And I'm not a big fan of stripping a body and starting over. I just fix because like even like at the factory, or if you're getting a car done by an auto body place, they're not going to strip the car because they got a drip on your quarter panel. They're going to fix it. Fix it. And no matter how many times, just try to conserve. Like when I buy paint, I buy 2. Oh, that just hurt. That was a bad arm. Oh no, Duff. We're going down that road again. Ow. When I'll buy 2 of everything. This way I know I have enough. I'd rather have extra paint than not enough. Because a lot of the paint jobbers that we use, like Scale Finishes and Splash and those guys, they're really good and consistent, but you never know.
Right.
Yeah, being a really good modeler is not about making mistakes. It's learning how to fix or hide your mistakes.
Yeah. That's what gets to me, because the only thing I remember are the flaws. I'll forget building the model. I'll forget everything about it. But if there's a flaw, every time I look at that car or that plane, my eye goes right to whatever was wrong with it. But some of them I'm actually, like the Fiat. I know there's something wrong with the pink Fiat, but I forget what it is. And that's kind of good, because I can look at it and I'm happy because it's my daughter's. I built that for her. And that's good that I'm forgetting where the flaws are. Maybe getting old isn't that bad.
Yeah, I still have yet to build a perfect model. 26 years of model building, and I still haven't built a perfect one.
You never will.
Doesn't exist.
Right.
You never will. None of them are.
Nobody wants to hear me chip in on this because everybody thinks I don't actually build models. But the thing I see get beginner modelers more often than not is if they go and they get a micro mesh kit, or they get the 3 grades of Trizac, or whatever sanding system you want to get. You don't have to start at the bottom grade. If the paint is smooth enough, you can skip up. So many people will get the micro mesh starts at like 2,400, goes up to 12,000. It's like 8 grades of paint. Man, most of the time you can start at like 6, do 6, 8, 12, and be done. You know, you don't
You
have
don't
to
even
start
necessarily need to get to 12 either.
well,
12
I'm
is
sure you
glove
go,
leather.
say you go up into your polishing compounds at that point, but like
Yeah.
you just because, and even with polishing compounds, if you use Tamiya system that has like coarse, fine, and finish, you may not need coarse. You may just need fine and finish. You don't have to start at the bottom of whatever. I have to use everything. No, you don't. I mean, generally speaking, the idea is to get the Tim mentioned something in here about not getting orange peel in the first place. Yeah, I mean, that is the goal, is the smoothest paint job that you can accomplish in the first place, so that you don't have to go through the entire 12 sets of sanding. Because I don't care what you put on there, if you start out at 2400 and try to go up through all 8 grits that are in that box, you're going to burn through the paint the whole way.
You're gonna be able to play
You're gonna have a white. You're gonna have a white model, and you're done. It's gonna be back down to bare plastic. You're gone through everything.
Might as well start drawing X's and O's.
Yeah, saying like you said, stay away from the rises. Your paint is going to pull off every door panel. It's going to pull off every curve. It's going to pull off the tops of fenders, the corners of the roof rails, any exposed trim. If you have, if you're going to bare metal foil it, that's fine. Or you're going to paint it black again, that's fine, because you're just going to paint it over it. But you're going to stay away from the window trim. The only thing that needs to be polished is the top of the car, the top of the roof, the top of the hood, the top of the trunk, and maybe a little bit of the sides. Because honestly, the rest of it probably doesn't have enough paint on it to be bad paint in the first place.
Have you guys ever seen anybody pick up a model at a show?
Well, I mean, there's the Kumbaya Lion King tank pickup that from the Texas IPMS.
No, not judges. I'm talking to like a spectator.
Oh, I've seen kids. I've seen young kids be walking through, and you're running one way while the parents running the other way, trying to make this collision of child and model stop. But I have not personally laid witness of just some random adult going, "Hey, let me see that."
James, Sean?
No.
Every once in a while, you'll see it almost happens, especially like a kid. But usually, like I brought my daughter to that IPMS show a couple of years ago. I said, "Listen, sweetheart, you can get as close as you want with your face, but your hands stay at your side." Okay. She's always been good. Even as a baby, she never really touched stuff. But every once in a while, I've seen adults like go to pick something up, and they have to be told. And there's signs everywhere. What's the matter with you?
Well, the one thing that I wanted to ask, mainly James, because this was, again, going back to his video, was putting things on a shelf of doom. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world, and it is because you can come back to it a month later, 2 months later, however long later, and realize that isn't as bad as I thought it was. Have you looked at those things that you got and realized that whatever it was that made you stop isn't as bad as you thought it was at the time? And the flaw or whatever it is not the end of the world that it was when you went, "Oh, screw this." And
when I pulled that BMW Z4 out and then compared the decals that are on it to the Wenben decals, I'm like, it's just that one stripe. It's salmon on this one and it's pink on this one. It should be pink, but is it that bad? It's not that bad. I'll finish it.
Yeah, that looked pretty nice in the video. I was like, I mean, I don't know those cars well enough to know the difference in the color being off, but
yeah, it just looks like it sat out in the sun too long or something. But yeah, they're not that bad. I wouldn't have kept. I give away stuff that I don't like. I'm not happy with. I get a big run in something or something. I just give it away. The guys in my club love it.
The James Tester Trojan horse. Yeah, here you go. Worked so hard on it. Here you go.
Yeah,
guys,
they love it on the body.
Because I think a lot of times when you do put something down or away, you come back to it later and you're like, I don't remember why I stopped building this. Right. If there's something wrong, something happened to make me stop this. I was so mad at it in that moment that I walked away, and you come back to it and you realize, like, oh, well, I have these 5 things to paint and install, and the model kit's done. Why did I? It may have been Andrew was in the comments here a little while ago saying that the whole reason that we stopped building stuff is Squirrel. Just admitted it's just Squirrel because, like Sean said, it's another project that you got involved in. But like a lot of times, and I realize I'm not the epitome of the building modeler right now, but there's a lot of times in the past where you come back to something and it's like, oh, now that I'm looking at this with a fresh set of eyes, it's not as bad as it was. I could finish this. I'm glad I did not Hulk smash this or slip it to somebody under the table going, hey, look at this. Hey, what this?
That, like Marcos was saying about fix the plastic first and then do the paint. That Aston Martin, I just kicked myself because I love the model car that I built, but that hump that I should have block sanded on the top of the hood, it's there, and I could probably wet sand and reshoot the black, but I could probably screw it up too. So it is what it is.
Do you ever go back to a model that you completed and fix something?
Never.
Yeah, me neither. Once it's done, it's done.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Because you never know how you've progressed if you always go back and fix old ones. So
I have modified a couple. So I built back in the 90s. Remember when slam models were kind of a thing?
Yeah.
You'd have no interior, no shell, and just like blacked out windows. I did a couple Pro Street cars that way. And then I was like, I kind of want to put an interior in this and just make it more of a curbside. And I did go back. There was a few that I built and put clear glass in them and then put interiors in them and sort of upgraded them. But yeah, I'm with you. Once it's done, it's done. I moved on to something else.
James, we got to get you to build a model this year.
If it's not too much trouble.
It's January.
Find it in your heart, James.
I've been joking with several people. I can't remember if I've mentioned this to Tester or Sean in our group chat or not, but the main theme for the NNL East is circle track. And I said, so long as you're not building a drag car or a rally car, because both those things, length of distance granted, are quite different, are point A to point B racetracks. So quarter mile, 10 seconds of your life at a time, or it's rally is obviously from one end to the other of a track. Everything else is circle track. Am I right? Like even Nuremberg Ring, it's 8 miles long, but it's a circle in the end. I don't care how many wiggles it has in it; it's still a circle. I want to see, even if I don't get anything done. Well, I could take the BMW 320 for it, but like if I don't get anything, I want to see the guys like plaster that table with other stuff other than NASCAR and IndyCar. Because that's what's going to be there. Everybody's going to see circle track. It's going to be NASCAR modified short track cars and Indy cars. I say, because it's a display show, right? Nobody's getting any awards out of this anyway. Come on, guys. Let's bring all the Le Mans cars and all that stuff. Because Le Mans is a 7 mile long racetrack, but that's a circle. It goes around in a circle. It's abused because we had. Ryan Kaiser on there right at the end of the last year, and I know what he's working on for his circle track project, and it's not necessarily a circle track car. And we had a whole discussion on that the other day. I said, hey, if it's I don't care how many wiggles it has in it. Laguna Seca has a giant curve in it that's very famous. That's still a circle at the end of the day. You're still winding up where you started.
There you go.
And so you guys are like, shut up. Stupid. We're talking about making you build a model kit. I said I said I should build one of the Mobius trucks because I only have 17 of those kits, so maybe I should build one of them. And then I have not taken one off the shelf in the last 5 days that I've known what the theme is. So
have you ever built any of them, James?
The Mobius trucks? No. I have two of them that are on top of stacks because they've exploded out of their boxes.
They go together pretty well. They're pretty straightforward and good detail. Very little headaches.
Yeah,
Quality stuff. I mean,
Yeah, I've always said that because John Mueller was involved in the development of at least the letter car and the Hudson. I think he was involved in the Fords too. They build like what AMT Ertl would have been if it would have kept going. So it's a very, very familiar, very comfortable build experience because that's what I built growing up mostly. After Revell screwed me over with those Tri-5 everything opens kits as being, oh look, these new hot rod kits, and then I bought one as got one as a birthday present or something when I was like 11, and then I didn't build a Revell kit for years afterwards because I just assumed that was synonymous with the quality across the entire product line.
oh my god,
No, I don't think so, because there's a fun topic. The Atlantis is reissuing that 57 Nomad that is the old Revell everything opens kit, and it's in the original box art basically of the 1967-68 release of the original kit. And of course everybody's losing their mind because I gotta get that. Like, it's established, everybody agrees that kit has wonky proportions. I've never seen one single person say that Nomad is perfect. Nobody's ever said that. Everybody agrees that it's weird, and everybody agrees that it's not a great building kit. It was mediocre when it came out 50 years ago, and it's not gotten any better through the years. Like, the time does not age plastic injection molding tools in a positive manner. But everybody wants to go buy one. Like, nostalgia, I understand it. If you're of the age where that kit means something to you, fine, go buy it. It's not my money. I don't care. But like, willingly jumping off that cliff and being like, I'm gonna go get another one. Why? You know how bad it is. Like, and now it's not $2, it's $30. Like, every time Round 2 releases something that's been out recently for the 30 some odd dollars their kits cost, everybody loses their absolute mind over the fact that I paid $1.50 for that kit, and now they're charging $30. But this thing's coming back out. It's the exact same problem that is, whether it was $1.50 once and now it's $30, and y'all are just tumbling over yourselves to, I can build it better this time. No, you can't. That model kit's not any better than it was the last time. Your skills may have improved. You may want to put the 100 hours of time it's going to take to build something nice out of that. But I think Geary mentioned the other day that kit was coming back out on Facebook, and I commented, saying, this thing's a bucket of crap. Why would you want to build that? And somebody said something about like, it's the only 57 Nomad. And I said, yeah, exactly. I have a bitter resentment towards that kit and the AMT 55 Nomad for that matter, because they exist. If those kits didn't exist, Revell would have made those two things on the new Tri-5 tooling they did in the 90s. I've talked to them before. The reason they never did a 55, they did a 56 Nomad. They never did a 55 because the AMT kit's still out there and they still reissue it. And we don't want to compete with that. You're not competing with it. You're just going to dominate it in every way possible because it's an old model kit that's, especially when it got sold, when like Round 2 bought that tooling. Remember that issue that came out when they were releasing the tooling that all of the custom parts were taken out of, and it was just like a factory stock 55 Nomad. All the parts have been taken out of it. It was like a bunch of trees with no parts on it. It looked like somebody had robbed it at a model show. And then the 57 Nomad's the same thing. Well, we don't want to do a new one of those because we have the original tooling, even though we didn't run it since the 1980s because there was something wrong with it that Atlantis had to go fix. No, make new ones. It was 35 years between the time when the Ed Roth most recently at Revell, but Atlantis reissued it again. That everything opens 57 Chevy that Revell did in the 1960s. It was 35 years before the Tri-5 90s kit came out. Same thing with the AMT. Most recently, I think it was the Pepper Shaker or one of the other ones of that. And it was 35 years until they tooled up that new one in the 90s. Frank will attest as a plane guy. You can't go 5 feet without tripping over a new Zero or a new P-51 or a new tank or like. I understand that technically speaking, there are more military modelers than there are car modelers. That's always the argument. But I don't understand. I will never understand. Someone can explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old that has not learned how to read. why automotive modelers are so intent on clinging on to that old stuff and not just letting new stuff be done.
It probably has something to do with the average age, and the loudest people are usually the ones who bitch the most. Like the loudest voices are the ones that are complaining. You know what I mean? So they don't want the new thing to come out because the mediocre thing is the only thing that they're comfortable with.
Right.
And if something comes out that's better than what they can handle, then they can't handle it. Even though they'd probably do fine with it, they don't want to find out. And that's the problem. It's basically created the vacuum that 3D printing is going to fill. And catering to these people, I realized that like the impression is that the demographic that's buying these kits is all over 50 years old, and that's not the case at all. It's just not. The demographics are all over the place. Now, if we look at the demographics of our channels, we skew older because YouTube in general for this type of content is an older audience. But if you go to Instagram, you go to TikTok, totally different thing. They're buying the kits and they're doing amazing things with them. So now they wouldn't be resistant to the idea of taking whatever Revell comes out with and making it into something beautiful. Whereas the older mind would look at that and see, well, if you're going to change the thing, then I'm going to be resistant to the change for its own sake. And that's not the way to go through life, much less go through your hobby. That's not the way you should be looking at things. This is supposed to be a community where we welcome people, and then you have people who just no, this is my thing to manipulate and complain about, and unfortunately, and in a lot of cases, in a lot of forums, because a normal person will just look at this behavior and they'll walk away. But when loud, obnoxious people find each other, then they just love quacking. They just love quacking. And they'll do it over and over. Yeah, why would they retool it? We got it good enough that the hot rod version, the one I find it $5 at the swap meet. Okay. Cool.
Now, William, I want you to know this comes from a position of love. I'm not picking on you specifically, but you made the comment here. They're saying that at Atlantis, with obviously the decals, they did improvements with the doors and the rear wagon hinges. Okay, great. Yay, yeehaw. It's an old tool and be darn glad the tooling is still around. All right. Well, I must put it to you this way. I respect the heck out of the people at Atlantis for holding on to this tool. The tooling they have is basically a history catalog at this point. So I totally respect everything they're doing within the confines of they saved that tooling. People do not realize how close all of that Revell stuff came to being sold for scrap. I mean, within days. That stuff had to be out of that warehouse in Elk Grove, and it was because Pete and Ed know each other, and they managed to talk to each other, and they managed to get that deal done. Because Atlantis actually wanted to buy Revell at that auction, but they didn't have the cash money that Quantum did, and that's why Quantum wound up with it. They wound up with a lot of tools. So they wound up with a whole bunch of Round 2's old stuff. They wound up with a whole bunch of that old Ideal tools and a bunch of the really old Lindbergh stuff, and it's all that box scale airplanes and box scale ships. Like, hey, here's a ship, and it's 1/357th scale. Like, what the fuck does that number even
plus
mean?
Tax.
Plus tax.
1/357 plus tax.
That's right. It's got a 9 on the end of it, like an old school.
Round it up.
So I want to say I respect the heck out of what Pete does and everything they're doing over there to preserve that. And again, nostalgia is a great thing, but I don't subscribe to that. We should be lucky it's around thing. That is no. They're running a business for profit. This isn't a charity. This isn't our sister of the poor. We should be happy these things exist. If you're happy they exist, great. I'm all for you being happy. But like as a communal block of we should be happy, no. Like, no, that's why there's no new this, that, or whatever you want to pick at, because, and in round 2 doing the thing where they're making new model kits out of the old stuff, that's cool because they fix stuff and it actually goes together now and all that. But no, you're not going to convince me that I should be like grateful that this stuff still exists, because no.
Yeah, that's I'm not a fan of the gratitude, especially when I'm paying. You know, it's one thing if I'm paying $16 for it.
Yeah.
$33 for a kit that, you know, has been around before me.
Well, and I've said before, and I've gotten in trouble for it before, imagine that, about, you know, critiquing model kits of how they look. This proportion isn't right. I used to make a joke in the past that the Hobbico era Revell, everything had 3 problems. There was a huge glaring proportional issue with the model kit, and then there was some secondary weird thing that didn't get right, and then usually there was a third thing that was like, well, whatever, like the Bronco, the 70 Bronco, the decals are the wrong shape for that front fender. They're, instead of being a line with an arc, they're tipped up like this in an arc. Like, who didn't fit that to the body when they did those decals? But
James, you got to realize something. The hobby needs a person like you that has the knowledge to say this is wrong. You know, and whereas the mediocre, they'll just dismiss you as a rivet counter. We need rivet counters because that's where we get our accuracy from.
But the irony was, like, you know, just picking on this stuff. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy it. If you don't care, I don't care. Right? Whatever. But it was like, this stuff's wrong, and this is really wrong. And you can't argue about those things. Like the 67 Camaro's rear end is all wonkily proportioned compared to the real car. I don't care whether you like it or not. The back end is goofy looking. Now, I don't care. I bought them. I'll build them. But I don't. It doesn't bother me. I don't know that car well enough personally for it to matter to me. My issue was always the 92 Mustang, because I knew that car as the SSP police car version, and I really wanted to build those police cars. That roof is 2 millimeters too low and just looks weird to me. And no matter what you tell me, it'll always look weird to me. And I had somebody tell me, well, you should just be happy Revell's still in business.
No.
Okay, I am. Not so much even the auction part. This was before they went bankrupt. Okay, I am. But again, they're running a business. They want me to buy their thing. I'm not. Why am I happy they exist? That's like being happy that Coffee Mate exists, or happy that Starbucks is still in business. Or like, why? I'm not happy. Yeah. They don't care about me. Why should I care about them? I understand these are small companies, groups of 6 to 10 people, and it's, you know, very, you know, tight-knit communities within those companies. And so I care about the people. Like, I like Ed Sexton and I like Pete and I like these people, but I don't feel compelled one way about their company. And this guy's like, well, you're a cancer to the hobby. Well, I'll be in your pancreas then, because you can't cure that, and it's going to take you quick. I don't, you know. Like,
wow. Land sake stuff. That got dark fast.
Well, I mean, I just didn't. I personally didn't appreciate that. Just because
that's a low blow.
My opinion of something. Now I'm the worst thing that ever happened to the hobby. Okay,
that's a moron. You block.
Don't feed the trolls.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I mean, I didn't argue with them either, and they didn't say it to my face. That was relayed to me from somebody at another show that person was at. But I was like, okay, cool. Here I am, destroying your cellular makeup one video at a time.
It's terrible.
Because, you know, if you're not going to make something that I want to buy, somebody else will. And I haven't even gone into the 3D printing world of these two over here, where
just print it. Just print it.
I think it's going to be a part of the hobby more so in cars than in any other genre. Maybe figures. Figures are going to get to a point where it's better than sculpting and casting. It's just easier, requires less equipment. I have a whole setup here to vacuum out the bubbles from the silicone to make the molds and then pressure cast. And I've used it like 4 times. I bought the printer. The thing's been going nonstop for 5 months. bags and boxes and bags and boxes of stuff. It's just, it's fruitful.
I think 3D printing is the future of the hobby, and I mean, it's only going to get, better, cheaper, faster, easier. You're going to have more and more things, obscure things to print.
Yeah.
The clear will get figured out. Yeah.
I scoured the internet looking for a resin caster who made station wagons, and the only one that I could really find was RMR, and nice stuff, but it's, he doesn't have a lot of stock, and it could be a long time before he's producing. But now that the 3D printing, I called up the friend of mine who owned the war wagon, and I showed him the picture, and he goes, make me one. Make me one of them. Yeah, okay. It turns out that's a 73. The war wagon was a 75. But James, if you can, talk to Andre, see what you could do. You know what I'm saying? 75 grand Le Mans. If you put a word in.
I've got a couple words in with him. We'll see if I get what I want too.
He's got the Ford pickups coming out this week.
Yeah.
I saw one this morning. Got that immediately.
I asked him for a Dodge Demon, a new Dodge Demon, 2018, or the 2024.
Yeah, that would play well.
I think it would.
Now I realize that this is resin, right? But like even resin, like this spoiler setup for this Mercedes up there, like this is like flimsy. Like, look at this. Like how am I gonna set the spoiler on top of the spoiler stand? Well, they threw a 3D printed one in too, and then the 3D printed spoiler, because the spoiler is like too wonky to use. Yeah, it's $180, but like even people who are selling high end resin cast stuff are realizing that like we need to 3D print stuff, because resin has its limitations as to when you pressure cast it as to what it can do. I'm interested to see. Hasegawa started doing it, and Frank will know the name Arma from planes, of when we're going to start getting 3D stuff in the kits on a regular basis. Because that's a real easy way to change trims, put another set of wheels in, to put a different engine in. The Lindbergh 64 Dodges that had the 383 and the slant 6 in it.
And now you used to have to, what you had to go through to get a slant 6, and you could just, there's 3 aftermarket guys that print them for you, and they're beautiful.
Yep.
Well, you can buy the file and print them yourself.
Yeah, way back when we had to buy a Diora kit to get a slant 6 or something, right?
Yeah. And, remember the Ross Gibson engines?
Oh, yeah.
They were beautiful. God rest them. May rest in peace. Beautiful products. But those things, before 3D printing, like 6-7 years ago, before 3D printing was really a thing, some of those things were going for $50, $60, $100.
That's crazy.
Because, and they were 1/24 scale. What are you going to do with that? Right. You can only put them in a monogram kit.
4 kits, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, I think, well, you and your secret project, we're not going to talk about, Frank, like you have a 3D printed grill for it.
Yes.
Like just the ability to throw a grill in to change, somebody saying a Tempest,
change the year of a car.
Change the year of a car, or down trim the car, take a GTO into a Le Mans or a Tempest rather than it being a GTO. Like there's a lot of options there, and I guess the thing will be like, are any major U.S. companies going to invest the money it would cost to either contract that out or print it themselves? Because if you're gonna make 8,000 model kits, you need a few 3D printers going to create 8,000 pieces. But
there's probably a farm that could handle it for them.
But I mean, Arma is doing it with airplanes, and Hasegawa was doing it with parts of their cars. So clearly, it's
what was the fatal flaw of what was that Shapeways? What wound up happening that thing went under?
I don't know.
They were charging a huge amount of money for really crappy products.
Yeah,
like they had like 3 or 4 different
grades.
They were calling them textures that you could print it in. And in order to print stuff in something that would even have been like 4K texture was the crystal clear texture option. And it would cost you $100 for like a bumper or something. They were there. They never upgraded any of their like printer functions. They were all old printers, and you know, selling stuff on Shapeways would work if you sold the files because then people could print them themselves. But their problem was they started a business plan that existed when nobody could afford a 3D printer at home. And when those prices came down on home printers, I don't need to pay a third party to print for me, especially at a quality that's below anything that I could buy. You know, you're a business. Why are you not using industrial 3D printers with, you know, what would have been like 12K quality back then? Like, why are you not investing in that type of service? And
it makes sense.
Eventually nobody used it because I could buy a 12K printer for $400 and I can buy the file for 10 and I can print it myself and be done with it. And I don't have to wait 6 to 8 weeks to get it from someplace to find out that. And there's a lot of people that I don't know if anybody will be in the comments about, but there's a lot of people that got Shapeways stuff. But Tim is literally right here. Shapeways products suck. Like, I'm going to pay $100 for something that's I can't use.
Yeah, I bought a grill for a '69 Roadrunner, and it came in clear resin. And I never really got to go. It wasn't too expensive, but it was more expensive. It was definitely more expensive than anything you would have got, than anything you'd get from Iceman or VCG. And anything that you buy from Iceman and VCG is just exquisite. It's beautiful stuff. It was nothing in comparison to it. And you guys, Mopar guys, if somebody would have come up, and I know Andre has a 69 Roadrunner body, but if somebody would have designed a 3D printable drop-in replacement for the AMT 68 or 69 B body Roadrunner GTX satellite, they'd be selling 3D printers like hotcakes. Because people have been screaming for even a cast resin corrected body for that since those kits came out. You know, it just look, you know, you look at that body and you realize they made that body out of a charger. The rear quarter panels of that body are a charger, and they screwed the pooch on it. It's awful. You know, it's almost unforgivable. That poor GTX that I have in A4 silver, I feel bad for it because it's so ugly. You know, it just breaks my heart every time I look at that thing. I try not to look at it anymore because of the shape issues on it. But if somebody would have even print, I mean, it's probably going to be expensive. But once you get the basics down for the 3D printing and you buy that printer and you have that first rough week, and you're printing your bodies, drop-in replacements for even the I saw a body come out today, James Duff, for a Fox body by Di Tommaso. Is that it? Is that the name? James Tester?
I think it might be.
He came out on Cults 3D with a bunch of Fox bodies. An 88, a 92, a circle track version of one.
I did not see that.
Yeah. I mean, it's out there. And I think once people see really what's out there and what they can get, what they can print, and at the price, and it's an endless amount of things that you could print, they're going to start to sell.
Right. To further, Steve Courtney, Shapeways is junk. Justin, Shapeways was horrible. I bought a 3D printed Ferrari 250 seats to replace the ones in a 250 California. The prints I got were worse than the kit seats. I now have a 3D file for those same seats.
You do? Send them to me.
Justin, send Tester 3D printed seats. Randall Olson, I put this, everybody said the word on the streets is Shapeways trying to come back. Yeah, I've heard that the original people that started Shapeways are back in control of the company after it went bankrupt, and they're trying to bring it back. But man, I don't know the necessity of print-on-demand 3D printing when you could buy a printer for.
There's a lot of people I get emails all the time about, hey, James, will you print me this? Or, sorry, I'm not in the business.
That would be me.
No, no, I mean just people off the street.
Yeah. Every time I post something that's 3D printed, can you do a 73 Charger SE? I just said it was a file. I just said it.
If you look on Etsy, pretty much every file that you want to print, somebody is printing it, so it's available. Like if you don't want to print it yourself, there's people that'll print them, and you can buy.
I don't want to run afoul of the copyright issues, and I don't want to run afoul of the businesses like Josh at VCG and Joel at Iceman. I don't want to take money out of their mouth. That's a very big thing to do. I wouldn't do it. It's right in the agreement when you download something on Cult. That's especially like Scale Speed Garage. You sign an agreement that you're not gonna print this stuff for people. I'm gonna abide by that because Chris is a nice guy and he's a tremendous resource for things that I love. So why do the right thing, and then the right thing to do is buy a printer, and we'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
I am a trainable monkey. There's not much going on between these ears. If I can figure this out and produce halfway decent stuff, anybody could do it. The safety concerns, you got to be mindful. But if you have an airbrush setup, similar. I mean, unless you're creating a print farm in your basement, it just very similar considerations to a spray booth, and more emphasis on personal protective equipment like gloves and a mask. If you're down here with the hood open on your printer and the tank is there, at least a dust mask. But if you're going to be down for an appreciable amount of time, you should probably put a respirator mask on. But the same thing would hold true if you're spraying 2K. It's it's kind of like common sense. You'll smell it. Like the thing that bothers me the most is the isopropyl alcohol. The smell of that makes me dizzy, and not in the fun kind of dizzy way that I used to like with the Tess's glue.
Right.
It's not the fun way. It's like it's almost like a warning. You better get out of here.
I can't find the comment here on the way out the door, but Justin did say earlier that his wife enjoys your accent. So
what accent?
With that, yeah, exactly. So do with that what you will. Guys, women, if there are any, appreciate you guys joining us for our second episode of this year, episode 16.
No, we're going all night.
Yeah. Well, we can't.
Call in sick tomorrow. We're going all night. Let's rock.
I don't have to work tonight, but these two look like they're about to fall asleep. So, so want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, and appreciate Frank for taking a couple hours out of his evening to come on here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Like he had anything better to do tonight, anyway. And yeah. Now I need to chase Justin down. Anyway,
do I look like somebody who has friends?
Always stop in and visit your kids down at the orphanage.
That hurts, man. That was, it's stuff like that. You're like a cancer on this hobby stuff.
Yeah. Well,
have we ever had a conversation that wasn't sarcastic?
Probably not.
I don't think we have.
It's two Catholic kids just beating each other up. That's what it is.
Exactly.
So again, guys, appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you guys on the other side.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.